What if I told you that in the not-so-distant future, we might never have to wait for an organ donor again? What if science could literally print a brand new heart, custom-made just for you, using your own cells? This isn't science fiction anymore. It's the groundbreaking reality of 3D bioprinting, and it could revolutionize medicine as we know it. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible technology that might one day end the organ shortage crisis forever. If you're fascinated by cutting-edge medical breakthroughs that could save millions of lives, make sure to hit that subscribe button. The organ shortage crisis. Every single day in the United States and United Kingdom, approximately 20 people die while waiting for an organ transplant that never comes. In the US alone, over 100,000 people are currently on the national transplant waiting list, with hearts being among the most in-demand organs. The numbers are staggering. Despite advances in medical science, the demand for donor organs far outstrips supply. For patients with end-stage heart failure, a transplant is often their only hope of survival. But what if we could change this narrative? What if instead of waiting for a tragedy to provide a life-saving organ, we could create exactly what we need, when we need it? This is where 3D bioprinting enters the picture, offering hope to millions worldwide. What is 3D bioprinting? So how exactly does 3D bioprinting work? Imagine your regular 3D printer, but instead of plastic, it uses something called bioink, a special material containing living cells. Scientists start by taking a small sample of your own cells, often from blood or skin tissue. These cells are then multiplied in a lab and mixed into the bioink solution. The printer, guided by a precise digital model of the organ, deposits layer upon layer of these cells in a specific pattern. Over time, these cells begin to organize themselves and function just like natural heart tissue. The result? A living, beating piece of heart tissue that's genetically identical to you, eliminating the risk of rejection. Current technological progress. You might be wondering, is this actually happening? The answer is a resounding yes. Researchers at leading institutions like Harvard, Stanford, and institutions across the UK have already successfully printed heart tissue, valves, and blood vessels. In 2019, researchers at Tel Aviv University created the world's first 3D printed heart using human tissue. While it was only the size of a rabbit's heart, it had chambers, blood vessels, and living cells that could contract. In 2019, researchers at Tel Aviv University created the world's first 3D printed heart using human tissue. While it was only the size of a rabbit's heart, it had chambers, blood vessels, and living cells that could contract. More recently, scientists at Carnegie Mellon University developed a technique to print full-scale, functional human heart components. These breakthroughs are bringing us closer to the ultimate goal: a fully functional, transplantable 3D printed human heart. The biggest challenge? Vascularization. As promising as this technology is, scientists face one enormous challenge: creating the intricate network of tiny blood vessels that keep heart tissue alive. Your heart contains millions of microscopic blood vessels that deliver oxygen and nutrients to every cell. Without this complex vascular network, 3D printed tissue would die before it could ever function. Researchers are experimenting with various solutions, including printing sugar-based templates that dissolve to leave behind hollow channels, and using self-organizing cells that naturally form vessel-like structures. This remains one of the biggest hurdles to overcome before we can print a full-sized transplant-ready heart. Beyond transplants, other applications. Even before we achieve full heart transplants, 3D bioprinting is already revolutionizing medicine in other ways. Pharmaceutical companies are using printed heart tissue to test new drugs more accurately and ethically than animal testing. Surgeons are practicing complex procedures on patient-specific 3D printed heart models before operating. And researchers are studying how diseases develop by watching them progress in printed tissue samples. So when can we expect to see 3D printed hearts in hospitals? Most experts predict it will be at least 10 to 20 years before this technology becomes a clinical reality. For transplantation, the process involves not just perfecting the technology, but also addressing important ethical questions and regulatory hurdles. Who will have access to these expensive treatments? How do we ensure safety and efficacy? And what are the implications of creating life-saving? So is this the future of organ donation? 3D printed hearts aren't science fiction anymore. They're science in motion. If you believe technology should save lives, hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into the future of medicine. And comment below. Would you trust a printed heart to save your life? Thanks for watching and stay curious.